Good morning, friends of Voice of Guo.Media. I'm from Minnesota, United States of America. I feel honored to have this opportunity to speak to you again today. I'd like to talk about the Chinese Communist Party's BGY strategy, the party's meddling with Americans' midterm election, as well as the advancing Honduran migrant caravan. I only heard of the term Lan Jin Huang from a WeChat friend a few months ago. Only just recently I learned that Mr. Mao's Guo, or Kwok as known in the West, originally used the term over a year ago to describe how the Chinese Communist Party infiltrate in the Western countries. From now on, I will use CCP to stand for Chinese Communist Party. Mr. Mao's Guo is the most wanted dissident, critic of CCP, and rich businessman exiled in New York City. He is granted asylum status in the United States first, and has recently become a naturalized citizen. Just early this month, CCP seized Mr. Guo's $13 billion worth of personal assets for no reason. They also put many of his family members and employees in jail. In dealings with the Communist Party and the Chinese government on multiple levels, Mr. Guo has learned many dark secrets of the CCP leaders. Out of pure conscience, he started to expose to the world what CCP has been doing to the Chinese people, including taking away their basic speech freedom, imprisoning dissidents, tearing down their homes forcibly without fair compensation. Even more importantly, Mr. Guo has been showing how CCP over the decades has been infiltrating in the Western countries on all levels with BGY strategy. B stands for blue, which means using media for its propaganda and brainwash. G stands for gold, which means bribing influential people, be it high government officials, prestigious business people, or media celebrities, to lobby for policies or regulations in the favor of CCP. Y stands for yellow, which means offering sex or making sex scandals or rumors to tempt and trap those foreigners who will have to do their bidding. CCP is determined to weaken, confuse, and destroy the United States. Even though espionage has always existed to the U.S. knowledge, the extent that CCP has been going that Mr. Mao has exposed so far is really so astounding and alarming that Vice President Mr. Mike Pence, on behalf of the Trump administration, made a 40-minute speech on October 4th to comprehensively address the questionable shady dealings CCP has done. Many Americans are still unaware that the Chinese government has been charging a high tariff on U.S. goods exported to China, making foreign cars and medicine much more expensive for ordinary people to afford. President Trump has offered wonderful terms to China, which benefit the ordinary people, only to be rejected by CCP because they do not want to be threatened with no tariff to be pocketed in their fat personal wallets. Yes, that's true. They reject the American terms because they are unhappy that they will no longer be able to take money from their own people. While they send their own wives, children, and grandchildren to live in luxurious mansions in the United States and securing U.S. citizenships for them, they tell the Chinese people lies that the U.S. wants to destroy China, causing the Chinese people to hate the United States. CCP dislike President Trump for reasons known to all. CCP have misjudged Mr. Trump, who means what he says. So CCP desperately wants to destroy Trump's presidency by trying to influence the midterm election. CCP invested $60 million to infiltrate and influence the United States midterm election. They're scared of Mr. Trump. They're also afraid of Mr. Guo's exposure of their dark secrets. However, whatever they do are all in vain, because we have so many Mr. Guo's supporters and Mr. Trump's supporters in Minnesota alone, as far as we know. So we put up an electronic billboard on a busy roadside. People who pass by walking or driving can all see this beautiful electronic billboard on which Mr. Guo's smiling face is shown, and with the word in Chinese, "Everything is just beginning," and also Guo.Media on it. And people have been wondering who this guy is and what is he doing. So he is known more and more to Americans and Chinese both alike. CCP even published a 4-page article in Iowa to mock Trump's trade war as a foolish act. As the election approached, 3 weeks ago, some Chinese American Republicans' chat groups were closed, and the group leaders' accounts were banned by Chinese internet police. Thanks to Mr. Miles Guo's timely warning and proof, the United States has a better grasp what China is up to. We came to the United States as legal immigrants, having lived under the oppressive, authoritarian Chinese government. We know how valuable freedom of speech, law and order, transparency of government, and autonomy are. We believe in the Constitution the Founding Fathers created 242 years ago. We respect and hold our Constitution as the most important guide for this country. United States belongs to every American. We are responsible to make it strong and healthy, free from corruption and infiltration from China or any other country. Now I'd like to say a few words about the midterm election. President Trump has proved to be just what America needs, a leader that does what he says. The Democratic Party and the extreme left have been resisting and obstructing his leadership. Even after seeing 1.8 million new jobs created since Trump's tax reform, record low unemployment for all groups, and worker pay and benefits rising at the fastest pace in a decade, Democrats are promising to rescind the tax reform. Also, Democrats believe that anyone in the country illegally should have a path to citizenship, which encourages more and more people to enter the U.S. illegally, putting a huge burden on us taxpayers. For the moment, America is facing the challenge of thousands of Honduran migrants approaching the southern border. Although Mexico offers asylum status and help to them, most refused and still want to move on to arrive in the United States. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen formally warned the migrant caravan that they won't be allowed in the United States. President Trump also tweeted, "To the Honduran caravan, I say, turn around. Go back to your own country. If you want to come to the United States, apply legally, just as many others have done." I think Mrs. Nielsen and Mr. Trump are doing exactly the right thing. Pentagon is dispatching 5,200 troops to the southern border to stop the caravan. The Democratic Party's policy of catch and release only encourages more people to cross the border illegally. It's high time to reform the immigration law to better serve the American people. To recap, the Chinese government has been infiltrating in Western countries in order to gain favor for its authoritarian regime. Because of Mr. Trump's policy on China and the trade war, Chinese government has tried to influence America midterm election to bring down Trump and the Republican Party. And the migrant caravan has presented another challenge to the Trump administration. What we can do is get out and vote on November 6th. Vote Republican, vote red, vote for Trump supporters. Turn America red. This is not just for the United States. It's also for the destruction of the Chinese government's corruption and infiltration in the United States. It is the protection of our country's sovereignty and autonomy. The electronic billboard we put up in the Twin Cities have received fabulous feedbacks from people who have seen it physically and also seen it on the internet, and were greatly encouraged. So this time around, for the midterm election, we have 15 candidates for the Republican Party in Minnesota. So we are inspired again to raise funds and done this project. And we have 7 billboards with all 15 candidates, their pictures and their names for all people to see. So now there are more and more red political signs out on people's lawns and on our billboards that can be seen everywhere. It is really encouraging. We believe President Trump has been doing a great job, and the economy is so strong, and people are so confident in the Trump administration that more and more people are turning to Republican Party, and more people are walking away from the Democratic Party. And they come out in great numbers to vote America red. We believe President Trump will win the midterm election. We believe the Republican Party will win the midterm election. And also, I would like to mention that Mr. Miles Guo is holding an international news conference in November also. We also believe what will be released in this conference will be shocking and will have a very great effect on the world. And people will learn how CCP has been manipulating and infiltrating not only in China but in the whole wide world, and how much they want to have a hand in the Western countries. We hope, we strongly believe that we will turn America red. We excitedly anticipate Mr. Guo's news conference in November, and we also look forward to a big win for the Republican Party in the midterm election. God bless President Trump and his family. God bless and protect Mr. Miles Guo and his family. God bless the American people. And thank you, Voice of Guo.Media. Thank you for listening.